All Dharma Masters and all Lotus friends, Namo Amitabha. We will learn from a Dharma sharing tonight that will show us how the Buddha is comparable to a farmer, but different from all the rest, with limitless compassion and an unfailing yield. This is Amitabha, the Seasoned Farmer, by Master Jingzong. Reciting Amitabha Buddha's name leads to Buddhahood, just as surely as you reap what you sow. This is simply how things work, naturally, effortlessly, without any force or artificial striving. A farmer plants his crop and harvests accordingly. That much is obvious. Now, Amitabha takes the hearts of sentient beings as his fertile soil and plants the seed of Buddhahood there. If that seed failed to bear fruit, he'd be worse off than a common farmer. Reciting the Buddha's name without fail leads to Buddhahood. That is the Buddha's harvest. Amitabha is like a master farmer who has been working his land his whole life. A single recitation of his name is the seed he sows, and our hearts are the soil he sows it in. But he doesn't just plant and walk away. He ripens the crop with his radiant light, nourishes it with the water of the Dharma, and even digs up the muck of our afflictions to use as fertilizer. And so the tender shoots of awakening grow a little more each day, until the time comes and the harvest of bodhi is gathered in full. An ordinary farmer can sometimes fail. Bad seeds, poor soil, inclement weather, pests, and come away with nothing. But when Amitabha farms, there is no failure. His harvest is assured. Look at the crops in the fields, the fruit on the trees, everything in nature growing as it should. All of it can remind us, this is how certain it is that reciting Amitabha's name leads to Buddhahood. A patch of wasteland left unsown will only be filled with weeds. It will never sprout anything useful on its own. A stagnant mud pond, left untouched, will only reek. It will never give off the fragrance of lotus. And yet here we have ordinary beings, unenlightened, afflicted, with Amitabha's name on their lips. If that isn't living proof that Amitabha has already planted the seed of Buddhahood in their heart, what is? That they will one day attain Buddhahood, isn't that simply how things must unfold? A lotus root, pure as white jade, takes hold deep in our heart. A golden lotus blooms upon our lips. With every recitation of Amitabha's name, Buddhahood surely unfolds of its own accord. Namo Amitabha Buddha. I feel this teaching is meant to be deeply encouraging to us, so that we will take the leap of faith necessary to entrust ourselves fully to the unfailing, all-encompassing deliverance of Amitabha. Once we have allowed him to weed out and grow the shoots of faith in our hearts, we will more naturally encourage others to do the same and also assist in this cultivation. I was reminded of Master Huiqing also paralleling this analogy when we share the teaching of deliverance with others. He has reminded us we must awaken the great realization that I am the cultivator of sentient hearts, dedicating ourselves to the unparalleled task of fostering faith, both in ourselves and in others. In doing so, as faithful adherents reciting the Buddha's name, we fulfill our mission in sharing the compassionate deliverance of the Buddha, spreading Amitabha's boundless compassion far and wide. So again, I hope you will be encouraged as I'm letting this encourage me. Even if we barely just began believing and practicing, we can be assured that although we were comparable to the stagnant, filthy water on our own, with Amitabha Buddha's indestructible white jade root growing from the planted seed in our heart, we will not retrogress in our cultivation, and will be able to help both those whom we have hurt and those we love. Not to mention how much more so upon our ultimate rebirth in the Pure Land and achieving Buddhahood. Thank you for your attention. Namo Amitofo.